Welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors Online, a weekly webcast produced by the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. I'm your host, Tom Jensen. The new PLOTS guides are here. They're available at sporting goods stores and other venues across the state. My guest this week is Kevin Kading. Kevin is the private lands coordinator for Game and Fish. Kevin, the PLOTS guide is an invaluable tool for people that spend any time outdoors.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's probably one of the most sought after publications the department produces. A lot of people await the arrival of the PLOTS guide every year, and so a lot of people like to get their hands on that and try to get out and find these new areas and some of their old favorite places that they've been to.
Before we get into the guides themselves, let's talk a little bit about the PLOTS program, how it came about, how long it's been in existence.
Yeah, you know, we're almost going on close to 20 years with the program, so it's been around for quite a while. It kind of, you know, came out of the boom of the CRP years and some of the increases in pheasant populations and hunters trying to get access to some of those populations, and it just has kept growing ever since. I mean, the public demand for it has grown, producer demand has grown, a lot of support from political decision makers and everybody, all the way down to the people that are using it, of course. And it's expanded from pheasant hunting to just about every other type of species, big game hunting and waterfowl hunting opportunities as well. So it's done a lot of good things over the years, and hunters are really enjoying it.
You mentioned CRP acres, Kevin, and of course we've been losing Conservation Reserve Program acres over the years. Where does that put our PLOTS program? I would assume that we're losing acres there as well.
We are. That's probably one of the hardest things that's happened to us here in the last few years, is watching some of those high quality CRP PLOTS tracts go away from the program. A lot of that has been in the program for 10 plus years, and as those CRP contracts expire, either the producer wasn't able to get it back into CRP, or they simply chose not to put it back into CRP. It depends, but when that contract goes away, the habitat obviously it doesn't stay. A lot of times it gets converted back to crop production, and so when that happens, we tend to lose those acres from the program. Sometimes we can work with the producer to keep some habitat out there, and they can farm some other portions of it, but generally speaking, that PLOTS tract is no longer that much value to the program after that happens. So with that being said, we've lost a significant amount of CRP from the PLOTS program in the last several years. Overall, we're still sitting at around 730,000 acres of PLOTS in the program.
Right, you have a lot of different venues in the CRP or the PLOTS program.
Right.
So people can look for working lands, plots, things like that. Waterfowl hunters are especially interested in.
Right.
There's a lot of different things. Let's talk about the guide itself. You mentioned 730,000 some odd acres, and people need a way that they can find these acres. What can people expect to find when they pick up a copy of the PLOTS guide?
Well, you're going to see information in there, just general information. There's some contact information in there, but as far as the real guts of the material is the maps themselves that lay out all of the public lands, all of the PLOTS lands. So that's a private land that we've enrolled in our program, and it you know, it has a legend in there as far as being able to identify if it's a wildlife management area, waterfowl production area, PLOTS tract, other lands as well. It's laid out pretty well by a certain grid type system, so you should be able to find your area of interest on the back, looking at this map sheet index. From there you go into your favorite map sheet, and from there you should be able to navigate around via section, township, and range, and fairly straightforward, laid out on a mile type grid system.
Makes it very hard to get lost in rural North Dakota, as well as these maps are marked out, like you said, and it maps out railroad tracks.
Right.
You can see sloughs on there. It's very, very
There's
valuable.
a lot of detail there, and you know, one of the things that when hunters are out and about, you know, I mean, when they're out and about and looking at the PLOTS guide and they're enjoying their favorite PLOTS tract, if they come across something like a PLOTS tract that has signs that are down, or something may look like it shouldn't be happening, something shouldn't be going on out on a PLOTS tract, one of the things I'd like to tell people to do is just make sure you circle that on your map and give us a call sometime. If there's signs missing, or if there should be signs in a different place, or anything that looks maybe out of order out there.
Sometimes PLOTS tracts get posted
Right.
that they shouldn't
Yep,
be.
or sometimes it's just a misunderstanding between a renter and a landowner,
Sure.
or a lot of different things can happen out there. There's a lot of acres to keep track of, and so, don't just drive by it and wonder what's going on. Give us a call. Circle it on a map and give us a call sometime. We can tell you how to, we can figure out how to get to that location and then go take a look at it. We can probably explain right over the phone what's going on with the situation you're calling about.
It's not just plots tracts either in the plots guide. You mentioned earlier we mark WPAs, WMAs. Explain the different markings in the book, what people can look for.
Well, you'll see the wildlife management areas are going to be identified with a red color. Plots tracts are obviously the familiar yellow color. And our waterfowl production areas, things like that, are going to be a green color. There's other identifiers in there, blue for state school trust lands. A lot of different features in there that are all identified differently. So it's very clearly marked for the hunter to be able to distinguish which acres are which.
You and your crews have developed a way that if something gets signed, a nice plots tract in the middle of a season, the beginning of a season, after the book has already come out, you can update that instantly on the website.
Right. That's, with anything that's printed, it's out of date as soon as the ink dries. And so we've put these same map sheets online on our website. And you're right. Sometimes those things come in. Agreement might come in just a little bit late, or land changes hands, ownership changes hands, a piece comes in or a piece goes out of the program. There's 100 different scenarios out there that can take place, and we try to keep the website edition up to date as much as we can. And so if a hunter is wanting the most up-to-date version, take a look at that every once in a while. It varies on how often we update it. Sometimes we don't have to update anything on a particular map sheet. There's no changes. Other times it might be more frequently.
As long as we're talking about high technology, Kevin, everyone has a cell phone now. Nearly everyone has a cell phone now. Plots guides are available on cell phones.
There's actually an app. Again, if the hunter's a little bit tech savvy or a little interested in this, they can go out to the website. There's a link to an app that can be downloaded. They can go out to their Play Store on their smartphone and find this particular app, and then pull in the plots layer and be able to navigate when you're out in the field with your smartphone. It's actually quite handy. You can see exactly where you are, pinpoints your GPS location. Pretty helpful too if you're questioning whether or not you're on or off a particular boundary, or something's going on and you just want to know for sure. And there's a lot of peace of mind in knowing
you can
that
overlay that with the GPS systems, and
you could actually pull it into a GPS as well. But there's a lot of different things people can do out there. Just one more tool that they can have in their pocket when they're out there to kind of help them find their way around.
If you're looking for public land to hunt in North Dakota, Plots Guide is your invaluable tool. Kevin, thanks.
Thanks.
Most hunting seasons in North Dakota are open and in full swing, but there are still a few very important ones that will open soon. Pheasant and fall turkey seasons open October 8th. The 2016 firearms deer season opens at noon on Friday, November 4th, and ends Sunday, November 20th, and the following Friday, November 25th, the muzzleloader season for deer opens. For Kevin Kading and the rest of the staff here at North Dakota Game and Fish, thanks for joining us for Outdoors Online. See you again next week.